everyone. Welcome to Justice Losers, the most unqualified podcast exploring irrelevant questions about entertainment. I mean, namely movies, TVs, and comics. I'm your host, Preston, joined as always by my delightful co-host. I'm just going with it, dude.
Double O Bat, Matt.
Matt!
You're coasting.
What should people do?
Like, subscribe, tell a friend, and check out remproductions.net.
.net?
Don't ask.
Spy movies.
Spy movies.
There's a lot of spy movies out there.
I spy with my little eye. Movies.
There's a lot of movies that say they're spy movies, but they're not really spy movies. So we're going to talk about spy movies today.
But only the real ones.
Only the real ones. We're also going to talk a little bit about the fake ones.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about the fake ones.
So we're going to talk about, it's a
too.
whole genre. I'm obsessed with espionage these days.
Obsespionaged.
That's what it is. So, first I want to set up like what is explicitly just a spy movie.
Okay.
So we talk about there are a few examples of spy movies out there that say they're spy movies, or like the James Bond movies, the Mission Impossible movies. Newly released, the Black Widow movie claims to be somewhat an espionage movie.
Yep.
We'll get into that.
We'll talk about it.
But what's, to you, my opinion that has been definitely spouted into your face and also on the podcast multiple times notwithstanding.
Yes.
What's kind of your ideal of what a spy movie is? Like, what movie would you think shouts that, like, that's the quintessential spy movie?
Man, it seems like there's one kind of rattling around the back of my brain, but I just...
Is it the same one? Like, would you say that...
Man, I don't know. Let's think. I feel
like you're going to draw this out.
Well, I suspect you have some ideas over there, but let's see. Well, I'm between two. And I think, considering the balance, it's really got to be the original Spy Kids, as opposed to Spy Kids 2.
See, I should have seen this coming.
Spy Kids 2, you see, it does more of an action movie kind of a thing. There's a little less of the espionage.
When's the last time you saw Spy Kids?
More recently than I'd like to admit.
Is that your actual answer?
No, Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy.
Okay. So Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, movie based on the Le Carre novel of the same game, same name.
Same game.
Same game. Same name, same game. I hated saying that. To me, and I guess to Matt as well.
Apparently.
Is basically like it is the most pure spy espionage movie.
Yes.
It's a thriller. It's like that's, but
right.
The movie as a whole, there's really no other elements besides just being about espionage. What's something that sticks out to you that makes a spy movie a spy movie? Like, what's a spy element, like a trope or an element of a story that is used that makes it a spy movie? Well,
I think it's when you really boil it down, it's what the goal is. It's what everyone's trying to get. And
I really thought you were going to go for a joke, but you're actually going for an answer, which I very much appreciate.
I think I'm out of jokes.
That's good. So the goal.
And in a Mission Impossible movie or a Black Widow movie or a James Bond movie, it's kill the bad guy, foil his evil plot.
Right.
And, there's some secretive stuff. There's some subterfuge involved, some cool little gadgets and sort of spy adjacent things.
Yeah.
But it's just kill the bad guys.
Yeah.
In a spy movie, the goal is information, because that's what spies do.
Man,
they
stole
gather
this from
information.
me, didn't you?
Yeah, I read all your notes.
Oh, I was just saying that I said the word information a while ago. It's like a peak thing for me, and now you're using it. You're taking my bit. That's okay. Goal is information.
Goal is information. Yeah. So Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, the entire question is, it's not about killing a bad guy. It's about identifying who the mole is.
The information of who the mole is. And
it's just following the paper trail and trying to set up a situation where they can discover who the mole is.
Yeah.
And it just is the competition for information. And so, yeah, I think really that when you cut to its core, that's what it's all about.
Okay.
I think if we're looking for things that would describe the trappings of a spy movie, it's going to be minimizing action, or when there is action, it is not a focal point as much as it almost feels clumsy.
Right.
So I'm thinking of the very beginning of Tinker Tailor, where the spy guy at the restaurant shoots Prideaux.
Which is different in the book.
It's different in the book. But in the movie, it's a clumsy scene. It's not supposed to happen that way.
Yeah.
It's not a exciting action set piece. It's
Right.
just a change in the situation of the game
Yeah.
as it plays out. So action is a means to an end instead of an end in itself.
Right. But no, your point, follow up, something I thought about when I was watching James Bond. Specifically, I was watching Casino Royale.
Great movie. Not much of a spy movie.
They were talking. He was talking to Im, and she's like, "We need to take care of this guy." And he's like, "You want me to kill him like in public or secretly?" It's like, "So you're an assassin.
Yeah.
You're not a spy."
Yeah.
And you're right. Exactly. It's everything is it's kill the bad guy. We're done. Like there's
right.
Yeah.
There are elements of gathering secretive information there, but it's never the end goal.
Right. And it's gathering information for your next combat, basically. Like, it's where's this person going to be so that I can attack them? But like a faux spy movie is like 1 degree of separation from a nuke, or like some giant chemical weapon that's going to wipe out half a hemisphere, and stuff like that. And like, in a pure I keep saying sci. In a pure spy movie, it's information, and it's information that is more broadly reaching. Like, it's this bit of information, this mole that we have has been leaking information that affects a ton of stuff that basically affects how a conflict, like who has the upper hand in a conflict. And when it comes down to it, that's what espionage is trying to just get the upper hand without like combative strategery.
I have the high ground.
Yeah, I like it's information to make smarter decisions, not stronger decisions. Not totally sold on that phrase, but
yeah. Can I make a chess analogy, or will that be too much?
Try it.
Okay. So the action movies are like the explosive moments in the game where you're capturing pieces and sacrificing all your material in an attack on the king. But the spy movies are the subtle maneuvering that sets it up. There's nothing explosive happening on the board, but there's the tension kind of bubbling under the surface, and it will lead to something potentially. Yeah.
Yes, I agree. And nice. So that's kind of like, we've covered kind of the goal of a spy movie is the information. How does a spy movie, like, what happens during a spy movie versus during an action movie with spy elements?
People spy on each other.
Like, that's like actually the James Bond does that a little bit.
Sure.
There's a couple scenes where he's just like, bugging people or like watching somebody from a distance.
Yeah, there's a classic one in Goldfinger.
Yeah. But it always ends up being a step away from combat. Like, they get busted and, now sudden, like, epic, like, hardcore parkour chase across, wherever the, like, I wanted to say Moscow, but it's not Moscow. Morocco in, Casino Royale.
Great scene. Not much of a spy movie scene.
Not a spy movie at all. And that's something that, like, when I kind of mentioned how spies don't really fight, I think that's what makes a spy movie more exhilarating. When they're like, so when James Bond or Ethan Hunt is 2 cars behind who they're stalking, listening, you're like, oh, I hope he doesn't get caught. But if he gets caught, cool ass car chase scene that he's gonna win.
Yeah.
But George Smiley in the book is at least like a fat, stout, useless man physically. If he's spying on somebody and they bust him, like, he's dead.
Yeah.
And so it makes it more terrifying that, like, it's the fear of it's the fear of hiding behind a door during hide and seek
Mm-hmm.
than over the fear of like playing laser tag.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's a very different fear when you're like hiding behind a door and the person who's like coming to find you is like in the doorway and you're just like, oh god, oh god, oh god, because it's over. Like, once you're found, it's over.
Yeah.
But like with laser tag, like you're like running around and you're shooting things. It's like high octane.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
but
intense.
It's like, it's an intense, and like when you get shot, you're like, ah, dang it. But like also, there's not really stakes of like getting shot. It takes the turn of a head the wrong way in an espionage, like in an actual like espionage moment.
Yeah.
And like with espionage, it's not even like specifically that moment.
Mm-hmm.
It's you exist perpetually in the state of being caught.
Yeah, there's that constant paranoia.
Yeah. American or Russian spies living as Americans.
Mm-hmm.
They are perpetually secret.
Right.
And literally any neighbor can catch something if they do like one slip up. And then also there's like a paper trail. By existing, you are creating a paper trail that will make it easier and easier for you to get caught.
Yeah.
So just by nature of being a spy, it gets harder and harder as you live.
Mm-hmm.
And so you don't even have to be in the room when you get busted.
Yeah.
It can be somebody else across the country that just goes, oh, that person's a spy. And you would have no idea. And then it's like, and so it's
all of a sudden Kieran Hines is dead in a hotel room. You don't know why.
Yeah. It's like, you would say looking over your shoulder, but like a way more extreme version of that, where it's, you can't even look over your shoulder and be safe.
You're sleeping in your closet.
And so just by having a spy that is like, that isn't known
Mm-hmm.
as a character makes it so much more intimidating, because you know, either consciously or subconsciously, you do know that it could just, the movie could switch on an instant. One thing that I've always noticed with this kind of stuff, and I want to tie it a little bit back to the werewolf episode.
Ooh, woo.
Barely, kind of. Actually, one of the major points is with spy stuff, it always tends to be that it's somebody, like, it's someone you know, or like you don't know who it is. And so you've got this espionage movies that have to do with a Russian. It's always Russians, because that's just, it was us versus the Russians. That's the way it was.
Right.
There is a Russian somewhere being sneaky.
Да, товарищ.
And you don't know who it is. And especially playing into the big thing that actually happened, where they sent KGB agents to live as American families. That makes it like they dig into that fear. So for Tinker Tailor, the whole point is that one of the people they trusted was a Russian spy, and that's terrifying. But with this, like, James Bond and Mission Impossible, we just dig on them, but like, I mean, they're two big ones.
Yeah, they're great franchises, and we'll justify them in a second.
Yes.
But
with the two of those, it's never like we don't know who it is. It's always like we know who that guy is. We just got to get to him. And so it immediately loses. It's now a target and less of an information, like you said at the very beginning. So you said we were going to justify James Bond and Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
Do you have ideas on how you want to do that?
Well, I mean, they're not spy movies, but I think it's entirely legitimate for an action movie to take spy movie trappings.
Oh, for sure.
The paranoia, and they're the like the little micro quests for information.
Yeah, and we're not saying, like, we're not elitistizing movies that say, like, oh, it's a spy action movie, and we're like, it's not a spy movie. Like, that's not what we're doing. We're just kind of putting them on the I always keep drawing the blank on this word. The spectrum. We're putting them on the spectrum of spy movie to not spy movie. And usually the not spy movies are more action.
Sure.
But we're just highlighting the elements of what makes spy movies and which movies do them best. So yeah, no, there's nothing wrong with it just being an action movie that also draws on the tropes and what makes spy movies, because like they're efficient storytelling devices. Yeah,
and it's a great way to add a little layer of tension in a plausible setup.
Yeah.
So And the first Mission Impossible is basically just a spy movie.
We haven't talked about Argo.
That's an interesting one.
That's a different flavor of spy.
Mm-hmm.
Because like they're undercover the whole time.
Right.
Which I believe is a pretty critical point of all of this.
Sure.
That's one of the things I've always found interesting in when it's done well.
Mm-hmm.
So in Tinker Tailor, the book, they don't really do it in the movie much. They kind of just, each person kind of has a collection of identities that they can use if they need to.
Mm-hmm.
And each of those identities kind of has an established like existence in any given place. So they'll just kind of casually say, hey, do you still have that guy from Milan that's I guess it's Milan, so it's got to be a fashion designer. And like they've used it a couple times. They've made connections as that person. But when things go wrong, they burn that identity.
Right.
And I've always thought that was like really cool that that's kind of their I don't even know how to, I mean, it's an identity that they do things under.
That they can literally pull off of their face or put it on their face. That's something Mission Impossible sort of plays with. And
that's something that like I feel like is often used wrong with lesser spy movies where they use undercover. Undercover is just you put on a hat and you hide away from people. And that's not undercover, that's just like being hidden.
Yeah, it's just
but like Black Widow does that.
Yeah.
He gives her multiple identities that she can use when she needs to, like different names, different and like all the passports and everything they need for it.
Jason Bourne's really good with that.
Yes.
It's kind of the question of like that's the whole point of the movie is which identity am I really?
That's true. And with Argo, like that's all it's about is maintaining that cover the entire time. And it makes it terrifying because again, it's you're leaving a paper trail. The longer you exist in the country as these people, you're like in danger.
Yeah.
And I feel like it adds to that, just kind of like it takes one look the wrong way. You say one thing wrong, then you're done.
You're burned.
Thesicize us. We haven't done that in a while.
Spy movie at its core is about the struggle for control of information rather than the struggle for control of power, shall we say, as a broad-reaching thing. I think that's a nice, concise thesis. We can expand it to talk about the fact that spy movies approach things differently, but I think really that it is at its core.
Down to its core about information.
Yep.
About acquiring information quietly. Hey guys, Preston here. Due to the YouTube algorithm, we can only put about 15 to 20 minutes on video. So if you want to listen to the rest of this discussion, you can go listen to our audio-only version on Spotify, SoundCloud, iTunes, and any other app you might listen to podcasts on. Thanks for watching.